back to the shop. I'm Brad and this is Sabaretti Woodworks. Today we're going to be talking the Millers Falls number 85 Rebate Plane, or Rabbit Plane, or Philister Plane, depending on where you are in the world. The name might change, but the plane itself is the same. The Millers Falls number 85 is essentially the same as the Stanley number 78, just made by a different company, but aside from that, same shape, same purpose in life. And it's a bit more of a unique tool. It's not commonly seen in people's woodworking shops anymore. You don't see it really in anybody's YouTube videos. So it was one I just kind of want to do a bit of a deeper dive on and just explain some of the components, how it works, what it's for, and then we'll do some test cuts now that I got the blade finally sharpened. So let's get this plane disassembled. We'll zoom in on it, and then we'll start talking through the number 85 Rebate Plane. All right, let's get to it. All right, everybody. So here is the Miller Falls 85 all disassembled. As you can see, it's a pretty simple plane as far as planes and parts go. So you've got your lever cap and your actual iron, your movable fence and the rod that the fence sits on, your depth stop and the little thumb screw for the depth stop, and then you have the plane body proper. And as you can see here, it has two positions. So you've got one position back here for the blade, and then you have one position up front here. This one can be used as a bullnose plane, where you can get in up close when cutting things or smoothing things out. You can see it goes, whoops, I'll just move my thumb there so you can see a little bit of it. There we go. So you can get the blade right up close to the front, where the normal cutting position is back here within the center. For depth of adjustment, you have this little thumb lever here, and it's got, I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's two little teeth right here on the actual inside of the lever, and those teeth engage on the back side of your cutting iron with these grooves. So that is what you use to slide the cutter in and out. And for the tightening it down, for the lever cap, it's not like a standard plane. It just has this little thumb screw where you tighten that down, and then it will put pressure on the front of the blade so it doesn't chatter and it cuts nicely. So I would just loosen this off ever so slightly, adjust the blade slightly in or out, tighten it back down, and you're good to go. For the fence itself, you can secure the fence on the left side of the plane right here, or if we turn it over, you can secure it on the opposite side if you so desire. As well, I didn't take it out partly because the screw is very small and I didn't want to lose it, but you do have this cutter assembly here where it's got three cutters, and so currently they're retracted within the blade, but if you're cutting cross grain, then you can loosen that off and you can move one of these cutters so it'll be sticking out just down below the plane, so it'll cut the fibers of the wood before the actual blade, and then that way it reduces any chance of tear out. So all in all, that's pretty well it. Oh, and one more thing. There's a little notch right here, and on the back side of the depth stop, there's a corresponding notch where my thumb is. So that sort of rides in there, so this way it doesn't pivot left or right once you get it tightened down. So let's get this together, and then we'll do some test cuts. So now that I have the plane all assembled, one thing that I want to talk about that I had not mentioned earlier is that, as you can see, the mouth where the plane iron sits is open with the side of the plane itself. So from there, one thing you want to make sure is that the cutting iron is flush with the side of the actual plane body. So this way, as you're cutting, you're going to use the plane body itself here. If we can see that. Let's try and just focus a little. Hopefully you should be able to see that. But because the plane body itself is 90 degrees right here, you're going to want to make sure that the cutter is in line with that. So this way when you're cutting, you're leaving that perfect 90-degree rebate. So now that we got this assembled, let's toss on some scrap wood onto the bench and we'll do some test cuts. So one thing I just want to mention when you're setting up the depth stop and the fence itself, you're going to want to figure out how wide and how deep you want your rebate to be. So what I did just for test purposes is I just took my combination square and I set it to 1/4 of an inch, and then I just used that to reference the depth stop and the fence for both depth and width of the cut, and then tightened everything down. So this way I'll have a beautiful 1/4 inch deep and 1/4 inch wide when I'm doing my cuts. And eventually you'll get to a point where your depth stop will engage, and then you won't make any more cuts. There we go. So now I'm at my 1/4 inch depth and my 1/4 inch in width. I could go a little deeper back here, but for the purpose of this turned out beautifully. So that is a nice snug rebate. I'm very happy with that. So one point to note, just as far as terminology goes, for those of you who might not be totally familiar, the rebate, or rabbet if you may, is going to be located on the edge of your board. So it's going to be along the edge where you have your depth and your width, and it's not going to be enclosed. A dado, for those of you that hear that term, will be a groove within the confines of the workpiece itself. All right, everybody, so there we have it, the Miller Falls number 85. Pretty much an identical copy of the Stanley 78, and for those of you that might have a record version, I'm not sure of the number, but I bet you it's the exact same thing. All in all, really happy with how this turned out. When I got this 11 years ago, along with some of my other tools, there was a little bit of surface rust on there, but I cleaned it up quite a while ago. And I only just got around to sharpening the blade, and I am absolutely over the moon with how this now works. All in all, this is going to be fun to use. One thing I did notice is the numbers 40615 etched on the side, as well as very faintly the name Davidson etched on the bottom. Now it does have meaning to me, and again, a bit of a historical significance. For those of you that know me, you know I love my history, and I'll do a video on that sort of in the near future. But all in all, this is great. It's nice to be able to just cut those wispy shavings and just slow down, no noise of like the router or the dado stack on the cabinet saw. It's just nice to slow down and just feel the wood cut, beneath your hands. Some people say, oh, well, it's just faster to use your router or your table saw. I mean, maybe if it's already set up, but if you got to stop and unplug it, change out your blade for your dado stack, and then set it up, it'll probably be just as long doing this. Will it cut faster? Yeah, probably. Will it cut a little straighter? Yeah, probably. But at the end of the day, just the hand tools where you can slow down, hear yourself think, and just feel the wood and hear the wood just being cut, it is a wonderful feeling, and it's very calming. And in a world where everything's loud and chaotic, just being able to slow down and just enjoy that quiet and calm, this is going to be one of those tools I'm going to reach for. Not going to be every project, but it definitely is going to be one that I will use periodically, and this is also going to be going towards building my hand tool cabinet, so super excited for that. No idea when that's going to be, but sort of in the planning process right now, so hopefully by year's end maybe I'll have it done. We'll see. But aside from that, thanks for tuning in, everybody, and stay tuned for another video where I cover one of my other hand tools. All right, thanks everybody, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.